you so much for joining us for the Palisades Fire Press event for Wednesday, January 15, 2025. My name is Thomas Schutz, Public Information for the Palisades Fire. Some quick stats on where we're looking at this fire right now. 23,713 acres. Today we're at 19% containment. Total personnel out here, 5,104. Before we get started, I wanted to announce that we will have an in-person and virtual option community meeting tomorrow night at 6:30. The address is going to be 10400 Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. This is at the Sinai Temple. Again, 10400 Wilshire Boulevard. This will be at 6:30 tomorrow evening. You can also join virtually the way that we've hosted the community meetings virtually, just like we will tonight. So tonight, virtual meeting, tomorrow, in-person and virtual option as well. I'm going to turn it over to our operations section chief for a fire operational briefing.
Hello, everybody. My name is Christian Litz. I'm a battalion chief with LA County Fire, and I'm partnered as operations with CAL FIRE Team 2. Starting up on the north side, we still have aircraft up in the air, and they're using infrared technology to pinpoint isolated heat sources out there so that we can take ground resources and go directly to that heat so that we can mitigate any issues. We're using that technology to go deeper and deeper inside from the fire perimeter so that we can make this area safe and make sure that we limit any probability of escape. So along the top side in the communities of Montanito, Fernwood, Topanga Oaks, Sylvia Parks, and along that dirt Mulholland Road, we still have crews out there securing that edge, improving the line that is in there, and working hard, like I said, pinpointing those isolated heat sources and get deeper and deeper inside. If you look over on the right side of our map where Mandeville Canyon is, we still have resources in that community and along the fire's edge, making sure that we don't have any adverse fire damage to any more structures, securing those edges, and still utilizing that infrared technology so we can isolate heat sources deeper inside to the fire perimeter. Coming down to West Ridge, down to Riviera, over the Pacific Palisades, and Temescal Canyon, we have resources in there in between the homes, still going deep inside, still concentrating on those standing structures, make sure that we don't have any extra damage or anything that we do not want, paying attention close to the wind and other things that can affect us. Along PCH, we still have a numerous amount of the utilities companies working on that infrastructure, trying to get things back to safe as possible before we let any residents inside the area, because we want to serve that public and keep them safe, but get them home as fast as can. Lost floors in the Malibu Canyon area, still along that coast, we have those homes and those residences still doing the utility repair and having resources inside those homes and around those homes to make sure that they're safe and there's no effect to those resources. As we come up where the black line here, as you see on the map on the far left of the fire perimeter, it's butted up against the Franklin fire. We're still keeping an eye on that and tactical patrolling and take care of any isolated heat sources that we may find. On the outside of the fire, we still have a contingency group still planning for just in case anything does happen or if we have any new starts. They're going to help us out on another layer of preparedness that we do. We always plan to keep the fire small as possible, but we prepare for anything else. Structure groups are spaced out around this incident, so they're ready not only to help if anything happens here, but if we have any new starts, they can be a quick response resources that can go and make any new starts stay as small as possible. Thank you.
Next up, our incident meteorologist.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Rich Thompson, incident meteorologist with the National Weather Service, assigned to the Palisades incident. When this fire first ignited last Tuesday and Wednesday, the area was experiencing what was one of the strongest Santa Ana wind events that we've had in recent memory. And with those strong Santa Ana winds, it produced extremely critical fire weather conditions, which allowed the fire to grow very quickly and very explosively those first couple days. Since those first couple of days of last week, the area has been under a persistent Santa Ana wind pattern, varying strengths and so forth over the last several days, but still kind of persistent northeasterly wind across fire. Well, finally today, those winds are finally relaxing, and so by this evening, the red flag warning will expire at 6 p.m., and so after 6 p.m. this evening, we're not expecting, at least for several days, any critical fire weather conditions for the area. So again, the red flag warning will be expiring at 6 o'clock this evening for this area. Now, going into Thursday through the weekend, we're going to be entering back to a more normal condition we expect here across this area of Southern California in January, kind of a cool onshore sea breeze across the fire, going to bring cooler temperatures, higher relative humidity, and just typical winds across the fire. So definitely some very moderated conditions there across the fire this weekend, which should help the firefighting effort and the recovery efforts and all that. But then unfortunately beginning Sunday night and continuing through most of next week, those Santa Ana winds are going to return once again. Right now there's a decent chance of moderate Santa Ana winds and even about a 20% chance of strong Santa Ana winds at times next week. And with those Santa Ana winds, you can expect the high potential for widespread critical fire weather conditions. So definitely we're going to be back with some fire weather concerns next week as those Santa Ana winds return to the area.
I'd like to invite all of our speakers up to the stage at this time. Next up, LA City Fire.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Joe Everett, Assistant Chief, part of the Unified Incident Commander, part of the Unified Incident Command team that we have here. As you heard from our Operations Chief, we've had tremendous success in extinguishing the overall fire. As you also heard from our weather expert, we're still in a weather pattern right now, so I ask you to stay vigilant. We're still working the area within the confines of the city of Los Angeles. In that area, primarily the Pacific Palisades, there are a lot of hot spots, a lot of dangers. Simultaneously, while we're up there looking for those hot spots, we're doing damage inspections. We also have our urban search and rescue companies up there, seeing what type of needs that we're going to need in terms of that infrastructure moving forward. Understand, in that area, there's currently a lot of toxins from the byproducts of fire. Some of those are solar, lithium-ion batteries, number of synthetics, and then your typical things when you have a large fire like this, like down power lines, gas, electricity, and other utilities. We're in day 8 of this event. I've had an opportunity to see some of these firefighters come back to base camp. They've been on this from day 1. These firefighters, nonetheless, have emerged bruised, battered, beaten. I really find that a true testament of the relentless battle that they've just endured. So keep them in your prayers, keep them in your hearts. They're working hard for you. Thank you.
Los Angeles County Sheriff.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Commander Christine Coles with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, currently serving as the Unified Incident Commander for the Palisades Fire Response. We currently have over 100 Sheriff's Department personnel, including search and rescue units and National Guard members, actively assisting with a range of critical operations. These missions include looter suppressions, evacuations, road closures, humanitarian relief, and roving security patrols. At this time, no new evacuations are being carried out. However, we have made 8 arrests related to the Palisades fire involving offenses such as looting, unauthorized entry into an emergency area, battery on a peace officer, as well as weapons and narcotics possession. A curfew was established for all mandatory evacuation zones affected by the fire, which is in effect from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and until further notice. This curfew is strictly enforced to protect public safety, safeguard property, and to prevent looting. We strongly urge all individuals to comply with the curfew and avoid entering the affected areas unless they are authorized personnel. Unauthorized individuals will be subject to arrest. As of this afternoon, we have confirmed 5 fatalities within the LASD jurisdiction due to the fire. In collaboration with the Los Angeles County Fire Department's Urban Search and Rescue Team and other agencies, we are conducting ongoing search and rescue operations in the impacted areas. Our goal is to ensure the safety of these areas, locate any missing residents, and clear any hazards before re-entry is permitted. We understand the community's desire to return home. However, your safety must remain our top priority. Many areas are still being actively worked on by fire personnel, and search operations are ongoing. Additionally, significant road damage, debris, and hazardous conditions are present in some areas, further complicating safe re-entry. We are in constant communication with relevant agencies to assess when repopulation will be feasible, but at this time, we do not have any confirmed dates for the reopening of these areas. We sincerely appreciate your patience and cooperation during this difficult situation. Thank you.
Los Angeles County Fire.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Harris, and I'm a Deputy Chief with the Los Angeles County Fire Department and one of the Unified Incident Commanders. Just want to give you an update on where we stand with our damage inspections. Today we are at 30% damage inspections for the Palisades incident. Impacted residents may visit recovery.lacounty.gov to view the maps that will demonstrate all of the inspections that have been completed at this date. If you do not see your address illuminated, that means that we have not gotten to that address as of yet, but we are updating that information on a daily basis. As what was mentioned, critical fire weather does persist in the area, and we're anticipating 75-mile-an-hour winds, but however, they have not materialized at this point. This may change, so that therefore we are still at heightened risk at this time. I'd like to take this opportunity also to remind all of our residents that public safety power shutoffs may still persist due to high wind. Therefore, we need everyone to understand that if your power is shut off, this is something that is a necessity. It is a necessity to ensure that we do not have to contend with live power lines, which may create a fire. Lastly, I'd like to remind our unhoused population that if you are unhoused, please do not start any warming fires in the cool evenings. Please seek shelter through Los Angeles County or Los Angeles City. I would like to encourage all of our residents to be prepared. Please visit fire.lacounty.gov/RSG to view our Ready, Set, Go protocols. This will guide you in the methods and everything that you can do to prepare for a wildland fire. We would like to just thank the community for your consideration and your patience with us as the fire department. We are currently doing everything possible to prepare your community for your return. Again, please be patient with us. We want to get you back home as soon as possible. Currently, we do not have a date in mind, but we are preparing the infrastructure to get you back home. Thank you.
Los Angeles Police Department.
Good afternoon. I'm Commander Steve Embrick. I'm the LAPD Incident Commander assigned to the Palisades incident. First, I'd like to reiterate we remain committed to protecting lives, safeguarding property, and maintaining orders in the areas of the affected fires. The LAPD remains on tactical alert and has officers actively patrolling the areas affected in the evacuation zones and neighborhoods where homes and businesses are vacant. Officers remain committed to your safety and available to respond to any issues should they arise. We are continuing to have discussions with the Unified Command to assess when it will be safe for residents to return. Your safety remains our top priority, and we will provide updates to you as soon as it is safe to do so. For the upcoming 24-hour period, LAPD will continue to deploy approximately 550 officers to the impacted areas with the support of the Los Angeles Airport Police, Port Police, and National Guard, who have deployed over 650 officers in the Palisades area. This afternoon, I met with their brigade commander, Colonel Smith, and thanked him on behalf of the department and the city of Los Angeles for their outstanding support and deployment into the area. We also have volunteers from Team Rubicon currently deployed at various traffic control points if citizens should need information. They are wearing gray shirts and are available to provide and share information to community members and the public at large. Missing persons, we continue to dedicate resources to all the reports of missing persons. As of today, we have 38 reports of missing. 27 have been found safe. Of that, 11 remaining, 11 have most likely been found deceased but have not yet been positively identified. In total, 3 fatalities fire-related. 1 of the fatalities died at the hospital but was not reported missing. We have 8 missing persons remaining. We remain at 14 arrests in the city of Los Angeles area. We want to provide an update on the public efforts on the city's efforts to reunite pet owners with their animals. Due to significant interest in pet reunifications, the Department of Animal Regulations has established a third line which concerned residents can call. If you need help retrieving your pet from the evacuation area, the third number is 213-270-8155. You'll be prompted to answer key questions about your pet, its possible location, and its needs. A care team made up of LA Animal Services staff and LAPD officers will receive your request and provide assistance. You'll be notified once the care team has visited the property. Additionally, if you're found pet or you lose a pet, lost a pet, if you found a pet or lost a pet, please enter the information and a photo into the Petco Love Lost system. In closing, the LAPD will continue to work alongside our partners to ensure that our community has the resources needed to recover and ultimately rebuild. Thank you for your patience and understanding.
CAL FIRE.
Well, good afternoon, Jim Hudson, Incident Commander, CAL FIRE Incident Management Team 2, and Unified Incident Commander for the Palisades incident. As you've heard from my partners here on the stage, I've been very productive. I'm happy to report in the last 24 hours, once again, no fire growth, and our containment continues to rise. However, I just want to make sure that everybody is clear on containment, and we've received a lot of questions on it. Containment, when we deem a piece of line contained, that what we are basing that off of is the ability for that fire to cross the line in future growth. So once we are 100% sure and confident in that line, we will call it contained. As you heard from our operations section chief, there are extreme hazards and extreme heat that still lie around the perimeter and the interior of this fire. So as we move forward, we will continue to increase our containment when we feel it's safe, and that safety comes down to not only life and property, but also fire growth as well. So we will update that as well, but I wanted to reiterate that today. We are making progress, but extreme hazards and the potential for fire growth still does exist. Also, too, with this red flag event, we continue to have a full breadth of resources here. You heard we still have 5,100 personnel assigned with no planned reduction in that until we are confirmed that this red flag event has moved through and that we are able to render the area safe around the perimeter, have solid confidence in our control line. So we'll update that as we get that information. We're also closely monitoring the Santa Ana event that you heard our weather talk about, or our meteorologist ahead of next week. CAL FIRE will continue to have resources pre-positioned in Southern California and Beaumont. We have all of the aircraft at our disposal available. They are continuing to fly this fire, and they're also available for any new and emerging fires that may occur in the area. We'll continue to provide updates via fire.ca.gov on our website. That's the most up-to-date information, as well as our incident updates throughout the day, and we will keep you updated on that. So if you have any questions, please refer to that as well. Also, too, in light of the recent Santa Ana, and always, to prepare your house and your home and your community for wildfires, please go to readywildfire.org, and you can get that information there. Just want to reiterate, crews are working quickly and fastly as possible, so are our damage inspection teams, and we're going to continue to provide you real-time information, but we are fully committed to what the effort needs to be put in to contain this. So bear with us. A very challenging, dynamic incident. Crews will continue to work around the clock until we have the complete and upper hand on this incident. Thank you.
California National Guard.
Good afternoon. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Manuel Reno, Commander of Task Force 143 with the California National Guard. Let me start by letting you know that our hearts go out to the people affected by the devastating fire of the Palisades fire. Many of our soldiers have family and friends who have been impacted by the fire and who have experienced loss themselves. We are here to offer our humble assistance and to help wherever and however we can. Over the past week, my soldiers have worked tirelessly 24/7 alongside various local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies, in addition to other various emergency response and support organizations. The task forces comprise primarily of military police officers. These soldiers come from your community. They are your teachers, your nurses, and doctors, your delivery drivers. They are your families, friends, and co-workers. Our presence in the area allows local police officers to perform their duties and focus on critical community needs. We are proud to serve alongside with our partners, LAPD, Santa Monica PD, LA County Sheriff Department, and the California Highway Patrol. Their expertise, guidance, and collaboration have been instrumental in allowing us to quickly mobilize and efficiently help wherever we can. I would like to express my appreciation to those agencies for ensuring a seamless transition as we integrate it into their operations. These partnerships not only strengthen our immediate mission, but also pave the way for future collaborations to better serve the people of LA and communities across California. Thank you for your time and trust.
Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives.
Good afternoon. My name is Jose Medina, and I'm the acting special agent in charge of the Los Angeles Field Division. I don't have a lot of new information for you, but again, we are committed to being transparent as possible throughout this investigation. ATF's National Response Team and our investigative partners continue to tackle this investigation from all angles. As you know, the fire started at about 10:30 a.m. on January 7th. Creating the timeline for fire is critical for this investigation. We don't start at the time of the fire. We look at hours and sometimes day before the start of the fire. So if there were any individuals hiking on any of the trails that morning near or around Skull Rock, we ask that you contact us by texting ATFLA 63975 and then follow the link to create a report. Go to LA Crime Stoppers. Tips can remain anonymous. We are talking to individuals about not just what they saw, but what they smelled and they heard. Even if you were in the area and saw or smelled nothing, that too could be valuable information. So far, ATF and our partners at LAPD, the LA Fire Department, CAL FIRE, and U.S. Forest Service have generated more than 150 leads. Some of these leads have come from homeowners, witnesses, and videos submitted. We have investigators scouring video from state-owned cameras that were in place in the area, from residents in the area, and social media posts. As a result, we have conducted interviews with individuals that initiated the 911 calls and the first responders to this January 7th fire, as well as the fire that was started and put out on January 1st. Our certified fire investigators who are on the trails and examine the areas and narrowing the landscape to the area of ignition. In a wildfire, investigators look at three main components: topography, weather, and fuel. Investigators are looking for remaining fuels and surviving fire patterns, as well as fire patterns on non-combustible materials, such as rocks, cans, bottles, etc. As fire burns on these materials and the vegetation, the fuels create fire patterns that tell of the direction and give context to the fire. No one fire pattern is the telltale sign of a wildland fire specific origin area, but of movement in that area. All fire patterns are analyzed in relationship to other patterns. These are extremely complex fires. I share this with you because I want you to understand the depths we are going to and how time-consuming all these tasks are in the investigation. I assure you, the utmost experienced fire investigators in the nation are on this fire. ATF is dedicated to giving you answers. If you have any information, please provide it to one of the tip lines. Thank you.
City of Los Angeles Emergency Management Department.
Good afternoon. I'm Brandon Silverman, a captain with the Los Angeles City Fire Department, and I'm here on behalf of the City of Los Angeles Emergency Operations Center, or EOC. For those of you who don't know what that is, the EOC is a large state-of-the-art facility located in downtown LA that serves as a nerve center during various large-scale incidents and events. It's operated by the Los Angeles City Emergency Management Department and provides for multi-agency coordination of resources and information to support emergency response and recovery. We have officials from every city department, as well as representatives from supporting agencies and organizations under the same roof to help facilitate everyone's goal of mitigating this disaster and getting through the recovery process together. Fortunately, as you've heard from our incident commanders, firefighting efforts on these fires continue, but great progress has been made, allowing us to begin focusing on the long and challenging road to recovery. As all of the agencies have stated, the City of Los Angeles is here to support you every step of the way. If you have not already begun taking the initial steps on this long road, please consider the following. For information and resources related to recovery, visit lacity.gov and click on the LA Wildfire Recovery Resources 2025 tab at the top of the screen. You'll find assistance for individual families, property owners, businesses, and housing services. You'll even be able to start a damage assessment claim at this website. Additional resources are regularly being added, including contact information mentioned by my colleague at LAPD for those who need assistance locating a pet within an evacuation area. The Disaster Recovery Center within the City of Los Angeles is located at 10850 Pico Boulevard in West Los Angeles, 90064. This is a one-stop information and resource center designed to assist residents and business owners for such things as replacing lost vital records, which include birth certificates, death certificates, driver's licenses, and social security documentation. To help those who have experienced loss or damage to their homes or businesses with such tasks as applying for disaster relief loans. And also to provide referrals to mental health counseling and other services for those who need them. As of this afternoon, since opening at 1 p.m. yesterday, 199 households have visited this Disaster Recovery Center. This will remain open 7 days a week from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. and will remain open as long as necessary to provide services to those impacted by the Palisades wildfire. Again, for more detailed information and links to all of these recovery resources and more, please visit lacity.gov. We realize that much of the information being provided by various county and city agencies and websites may be redundant, but that's by design. Our common goal is to ensure everyone who needs information or assistance can access it as easily as possible. Thank you.
State Board of Equalization.
Good afternoon. My name is Tony Vasquez, and my district is the whole county of LA. And I'm here to lend some support, especially as it pertains to the property tax. For those that have homes that they lost or a business they lost, I'm going to be working diligently, actually with my state senator who will be coming up in a little bit this weekend, and the insurance commissioner, Ricardo Lada, to see what we can do to help those folks that now have lost a structure, whether it's a home or it's a business, to hopefully be a resource as we begin to rebound back. The other thing I want to do is just extend my great appreciation and thanking all the first responders that are here, because I represent the whole county of LA, and it took a lot of individuals and departments between LAPD, the sheriffs, you have CAL FIRE, and then you have all the others that are not only in the federal government, the state, but locally. And I just wanted to give out a little shout out to them and appreciate and whatever we can do to help and assist. This is going to be going on at Santa Monica College this weekend, starting at 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning, both on Saturday and Sunday. We're going to use their satellite campus, which is located on the corner of 11th and Santa Monica Boulevard. please get the word out for all those individuals, especially those that are homeowners or business owners that are trying to rebound and trying to figure out how they're going to handle their property taxes when they come due. Thank you very much.
California State Senator Ben Allen.
Good afternoon, friends. This tragedy has brought out the worst of some of us and the best of so many of us. We've all watched with concern and disgust as a small portion of our population has sought to take advantage of the most vulnerable and of this very difficult situation and this terrible tragedy. We've also, of course, seen the incredible heroism of our firefighters, the diligence of our law enforcement officers, the hard work and the compassion of the social workers that are already working so hard to provide services and help victims access programs. We've also seen an enormous outpouring of generosity from the general public, people stepping up in so many different ways, everything from clothing to food trucks and water. And I was just at SMC yesterday at Santa Monica College, where hundreds of people had heeded the call, and they literally showed up to volunteer with the sorting efforts to ensure that we can make sure that all of the donated items are properly distributed. And hundreds of people use that nervous energy, that concern, that love for their fellow Angelenos to spend some time helping with the situation. This tragedy has, of course, attracted the concern and the empathy of not just the state, but the nation and the world. And I've personally toured leaders from Sacramento and Washington through the fire zone. I know my colleagues have as well, in addition to some of the law enforcement first responder folks here. Just right now, as we speak, I want to just point out that this is a bipartisan effort. Right now, the Assembly Minority Leader, the Republican leader of the State Assembly, James Gallagher, who himself suffered an enormous tragedy in his own district. He represents Paradise. He's up in the fire zone right now with his colleague Heath Flora from the Central Valley, learning about the fire, engaging, talking to the first responders, learning about everything that happened. And we've spoken extensively, and we've talked together a lot about doing everything we can to try to depoliticize this tragedy, try to work together and ensure that this is truly a bipartisan effort of support for the victims of this terrible tragedy, which should see no red or blue. And we're going to work together to ensure greater bipartisan cooperation, both in Sacramento and in Washington, to especially as we look at the transition between federal administrations, to ensure that there's support for our fellow Californians in need. I just want to also just say thank you to everyone who's stepped up with donations. There's so many donations now of food and clothing and water. We really, for the most part, don't even need those kinds of donations anymore because there's been so much generosity. But one thing that we're starting to see is the need for services, donation of services. So if you have the ability to provide mental health services, legal, tax, business consulting, housing assistance, substance abuse treatment, anything that could possibly help fill in for the impacted business community and assist these residents. Of course, people can't go back to their homes, and all of the businesses and services that were there in those communities now are no longer accessible. Even if they're not burned down, people have been evacuated. So if you are coordinating assistance or donations like this, please consider working with our local businesses as much as possible. They really desperately need support right now, especially those businesses that were headquartered in the evacuation zone. There are so many good things happening to help people, and I just want to say, if you are a victim of this terrible tragedy, please do consider going down to the Disaster Recovery Center over at UCLA Research Park. That's the old West Side Pavilion, which has now been turned into a service center. Every agency under the sun is there. It's largely being driven by FEMA, and you can go and file your FEMA claim there and start the process of getting support from FEMA. But in the same room, there's unemployment insurance, there's Department of, all the tax issues that can be addressed, the county assessor, Parks and Rec. They actually literally have a place for people to bring their kids, so you can have childcare there while you go take care of all your business. before all these different agencies. The DMV is there assisting people with getting new driver's licenses. There's people there that are helping people with death certificates and birth certificates and marriage certificates and titles, all those documents that might have burned in the fire that you're going to need to help you get on with your life. Those are all there at the Disaster Recovery Center at UCLA Research Park. For those that are victims of the Eaton fire, a similar center has been established at Pasadena City College. And they're open from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. It's a one-stop shop of all these sorts of services. I also just want to point out the executive order that was signed yesterday that's now going to allow for increased flexibility for students. We know that for those kids that were impacted, for those families whose schools are within the evacuation of the fire zones, this new executive order is going to provide some flexibility. We know people have gotten sent all far and near around the state. I've got friends who are now set up shop in Santa Barbara County or Long Beach or Orange County. They're all moving around. So this executive order is going to provide some flexibility to ease the transition to those local schools, at least temporarily and perhaps even on a longer term basis, no matter where you are. And finally, I want to reiterate the call from our board member Vasquez, who mentioned the fact that we're working together with the insurance commissioner for workshops at Santa Monica College. That'll be this weekend. If you can call, make an appointment, 800-927-4357, 800-927-4357. Go down to go down there this weekend and get all your questions answered, file your claims. You're going to be able to look face to face with insurers, whether it's from the FAIR Plan or from a private insurer or the Department of Insurance, so you're not stuck on hold on some 1-800 number. Please know that all of us are here to serve you. I know I speak for my colleagues. I see our great budget chair, Jesse Gabriel from the Assembly, who's here as well. We are all working, our staffs are working around the clock to ensure that we provide whatever assistance you need in this incredibly difficult time of need. So thank you, everyone. And again, so much thanks to our hardworking and heroic firefighters and first responders that have been fighting this fire. It is amazing how much progress they've made. We're nervous about these wind conditions, but right now there are no open smoke flames in the Palisades fire. Of course, they're smoldering, and they're going to be working every single inch of that perimeter to make sure that our communities are safe. We urge your patience, we appreciate your patience, and we thank our first responders.
California State Assembly Member Jesse Gabriel.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jesse Gabriel, proud to represent the San Fernando Valley in the California legislature. And let me just echo Senator Allen's comments. We can't say it enough. Thank you to our incredible firefighters, incredible law enforcement, first responders. Those of us in the Valley are so grateful for everything you guys have done to hold the line at Mulholland, everything you've done to keep those of us who are evacuated safe, to keep our community safe while people are outside of their homes. So thank you. I want to speak for a moment just to the folks in the San Fernando Valley, and particularly in Encino, who are still under mandatory evacuation orders. I'm still under a mandatory evacuation order. I know folks are eager to get back to their homes. I am eager to get back in my home. Our kids are eager to get home. We're eager to get back to some sense of normalcy. And I know that it has been a challenging moment. I know that it was difficult to gather your kids and your belongings and your pets and throw them in the car late at night and to be gone, and that there's been a lot of stress and a lot of fatigue. And we are working, and I can assure you I've spoken with law enforcement and CAL FIRE and folks. They are working diligently to handle this and to make sure that people can get back into their homes as soon as possible and as soon as it is safe to do so. On that topic, I want to invite people to join the Encino Property Owners Association is doing a Zoom at 7 p.m. tonight for Encino residents. There'll be an opportunity to speak with fire, with local elected officials. I will be on there as well to talk about the particular needs of our Encino community. And if you want to join that, you can call my Encino office at 818-380-2460. Again, that is 818-380-2460. That's our Encino office. We can give you the information about how you can join that Zoom, and thank you to Rob Glushon and all the folks at the Encino Property Owners Association for convening that. You can also call our district office if we can help with anything else, any other issues for Valley residents that have been impacted by the Palisades fire. We work for you, and we're here to help. Let me say one more thing in my capacity as chair of the Budget Committee, as Senator Allen mentioned. We are working in close collaboration with the governor to prepare legislation to provide immediate relief, billions of dollars in immediate relief and recovery for folks here in Southern California who've been impacted by these fires. We're going to have hearings on them next week. We anticipate passing legislation by the end of this month to make sure that those resources and dollars are coming down here to Southern California to help people recover and rebuild from this devastating fire. And I want to thank my colleague, Assemblywoman Jackie Irwin, who represents the Palisades. I know she's meeting with a lot of community members right now. Her and Assemblymember Harbedian, who's been impacted by the Eaton fire, they are working to make sure that the voices of these impacted communities are part of that process. So as we deliver state aid, it is being very much shaped by those communities that have been impacted. Let me also thank those from other parts of the state who have come down. I want to echo what Senator Allen said about this being a bipartisan response. I have gotten so much support from colleagues, Democrats, Republicans across the state who have come together. Natural disasters, wildfires, these are not partisan issues. We are all Californians. We are in this together as Angelinos, and that's how we're going to rebuild. And so I want to thank both my Republican and Democratic colleagues who've come down. We actually have Dr. Jasmeet Bains, who's a member of our legislature from the Central Valley, who's also a practicing physician who's down here. I can tell you when I was driving down Highway 5 on Tuesday from Sacramento trying to get back, we had engines from all parts of the state, from every corner of the state, folks who got on the road immediately and came down here to help us. So again, stay safe. We understand that this is a tense moment. We understand folks want to go home, but join us at 7 p.m. tonight and we can share more information. Thank you, everybody, and thank you again to our first responders.
Acting City Manager for the City of Malibu, Joseph Toney.
Hi, Joe Toney, Acting City Manager. We want to make sure that we're listening to our residents and providing as much guidance as possible. So we have a town hall scheduled for next Tuesday, January 21st, 6 p.m. at Malibu High School. And as my colleagues have mentioned and was so eloquently stated by Senator Allen, there's a disaster resource center located at UCLA Research Park at 10850 West Pico Boulevard. Please do not hesitate to go there to get immediate assistance. Also, as a reminder, there is still a temporary flight restriction over the fire area. There are no drones allowed, including flights for damage assessments. This actually impedes the work that our public safety partners are doing to try to secure the area and make it as safe as possible for residents to return. So please do not have any drones flying over the area. Our partners at SoCal Gas are trying to restore the gas as quickly as possible to homes not impacted by the fire. That's their first tranche of homes. So far, they've gotten to just about 1,300 customers, but they do have more than 13,000 within the fire-affected area, so they have a long ways to go. So please show some patience with our SoCal Gas partners. To try to provide some semblance of normalcy to our families, the Malibu schools are hoping to reopen on Tuesday, January 21st. Also, as a reminder, police escorts are still suspended in the evacuation areas. Survey and recovery operations are currently occurring, and as a reminder, they are securing that area to try to make it safe to return as soon as possible. If you are still without power, there are community charging stations available at Malibu Bluffs Park, the pavilions on Point Doom, and the Ralphs in central Malibu. Also, I'd like to thank our partner cities, Calabasas, Westlake, Camarillo, and now Pepperdine University, who have allowed us to continue our Emergency Operations Center to support our community in this time of need as we quickly try to respond to the disaster and now are quickly transitioning to recovery. We hope to return to City Hall tomorrow and then hopefully reopening City Hall to programming in the coming weeks. Also, we are creating a central hub of information on our website. So if you need any access to immediate information or recovery resources, please go to malibucity.org/Palisades Fire. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That concludes the formal presentation of this event. Before we jump into questions, a quick reminder for anybody who missed it at the beginning. We will have an in-person community meeting tomorrow at 6:30. This is going to be at the Sinai Temple, address 10400 Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. Again, 10400 Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. Also have a virtual option. Please join us tonight for a virtual community meeting as we've been doing. This will be at 6:30. Both events at 6:30. You can join us tonight virtually, tomorrow in person or virtually. And now we'd like to open it up for questions.
Hi, it's Russ Palumbo from CBS News and KCAL News. I have a question for Special Agent in Charge Medina, if you would please. I wanted to ask you, with all the leads that you have coming in right now, are you leaning towards a working theory right now at Skull Rock? Do you believe possibly the most likely cause of fire is a rekindling of the fire that was in that area 6 days prior?
We are not leaning towards anything right now. We're taking everything in, evaluating all the evidence we receive, but it's too early on in the investigation to make any determination.
Do you think some of the video clips that you mentioned that have been sent into you, do you foresee making some of those public to spark more input from public? Maybe they'll recognize hikers in the area or other people?
Not at this time. This is an active and ongoing investigation.
All right, thanks. And I just have one more question for Chief Everett from LA Fire Department. Chief, we're more than a week now into this firefight, and with 5,000 firefighters on the front lines, how are they holding up physically so far?
Well, that's I appreciate that question, actually, and I alluded to some of the people coming back to base camp clearly, bruised and battered. And we have a system here that we look out for them emotionally. We have peer support set up. We also have first aid. And in my morning briefing to the troops out there, what I told them is to take some time, make some friends that are here, and call their families, call their loved ones, tell them they love them. So in a nutshell, firefighters are resilient, and they're doing a good job, but a lot of them are hurting inside. They're going to continue the battle. I appreciate that question.
You know, Chief, to add to that, there is some controversy coming from retired command staff members from LAFD, some published reports, some comments that we've heard, and the controversy we've seen with the mayor being out of the country and returning, the controversy between the mayor and the fire chief. How is that affecting the men and women on the front lines when it comes to morale?
I can only speak for myself because I have my head down working all day, so I haven't had the opportunity necessarily. I don't even get to see myself on the news at night, so I haven't had the opportunity to really keep up on local, national, international politics, unfortunately. But I will tell you, if I could speak for most firefighters, they're busy doing the job at hand, and they're determined to do that.
Thank you, Chief.
Any additional questions?
That concludes our briefing event. Thank you very much for attending.